Good afternoon again. I have a question from a lady in France who wrote a very heartfelt letter about being unable to find a suitable love. And by the sound of her letter, she'd tried a few, but couldn't find the right one. Now, I don't have her letter with you to quote in full what she wrote, but when I read this, it immediately produced an echo in my own heart, and perhaps in quite a number of you who are watching this. How difficult it seems to find the perfect love. Why is that? I must have been in my early 30s, I think, when I made a note, which is actually in my new book, Mystic Beginnings. I think I wrote, "Where is the person who can receive my love? Surely there is none, because when I love," I can't quite remember what I put, something about loving totally, "I must destroy any illusion of a separated human being." How can total love fit into a separate human being? And I went on to compare people rather like jam pots, just jam pots, each with a certain capacity. And here was total love, unable to fit into a little jam pot, and somehow wanting to find a capacity equal to its capacity to get, equal to its longing to give. I wonder how many people would echo what I've just said. How does one reconcile these two parts of human nature, our infinite capacity with our limited human well, I'm using the word capacity in both meanings. One's infinite desire to give with a limited capacity to receive. Yes, that puts it better. Maybe it isn't possible. Or maybe we might very occasionally meet someone who does have that infinite ability to receive. But does that mean being more than an I, me, mine? Does that completely explode the I love you, I found the right love for me? Having lived so much of my life in the open fields like this, it's always seemed so much easier here because I can love nature and there are no boundaries. You know, there's a hedge over here, a field here, a wood there, the sky here. You don't love the wood and not the sky, or the sky and not the field. You seem to be able to love the whole thing, don't you? The whole panorama of what's in front of you. And yet when you're confronted with a person, a woman or a man, somehow there seems a requirement to sort of focus on that one person. And then, of course, because we all have these feelings of of fear of losing. We want to in some way secure the beloved, and then comes in the fear of competition, of someone else taking her way, of losing, of jealousy. All these things are, we can't pretend they're not here in our human natures. And of course we can't always live in this great universal scale. We want to be loved in a personal way too also. We want to be held, don't we? And here the situation begins to get a bit fidgety, doesn't it? Because the total wants to become really very quite small, really. And well, I'm not surprised if this lady hasn't been successful in finding what she was seeking for. And I suspect a good many of you can say much the same. Well, what happens eventually? Well, all I can really say is that as life goes on, and here I might say that I really don't think there's anything much you and I can do about it. We can read books about it, we can listen to teachers and go on retreats, but we can't really do very much to change ourselves, in my experience. The only thing that really does create change is the natural process of growing up. When we grow out of childhood, out of youth, out of our prime, into and become older. And then certain things happen, not only in our biology, but in our way of thinking about life, in our way of understanding. And if we've been doing some sort of spiritual practice, we'll find we get a wider perspective on things. It becomes less narrow and more what we could call universal. We seem to focus less on the name and the form of particular times and spaces and things and events, and focus more on this wholeness, the universality of things, the invisible spiritual presence, which actually supersedes the multiplicity of matter. And then we begin to sense that this infinite outreach of the heart meets an infinite receptivity in what surrounds us, and vice versa. And the age-old human dream to love and be loved in perfection begins to become real. And then we look back on our attempts to personalize it, or rather as we look back on our childhood, with a smile. And the wounds and the tears of childhood are comforted by the assurance of having grown up. So to this lady in France and to all others who are searching for love in this way, my sympathies and my encouragement to keep going. Don't lose faith, dears, don't lose hope. and God willing, we'll find our way home. God bless you. Bye-bye for now. Until tomorrow.